welcome to our Friday roundup of the news. This is Lalit Jha, and I am Douglas Christian.
Hello, welcome to Friday again.
Welcome.
Tell me, what's the breaking news this week?
This morning, Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema revealed that she is going to break from the Democratic Party. She's going to become an independent. She notified Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of her moves last night. And here at the White House, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that she's looking forward to working with Senator Sinema as a valuable team member nonetheless. Senator Sinema says that she is not going to change her vote or her behavior in any kind of way. And so then the speculation is, why is she doing this?
True, that was my question.
Right. And right now, her popularity is hovering only at about 37%. She is less popular in Arizona than President Biden or former President Trump. And she is distinctly unpopular among liberal Democrats. Some politicos believe that she is looking at this as a way to tweak the primary system, because she does believe she's going to be primaried. And if she is an incumbent senator, then she will get the full backing nonetheless from the Democratic Party, just like independent senators Angus King from Maine and Bernie Sanders from Vermont get. However, if she's primaried, of course, in the Democratic primary, she would not be able to run. This way, she will run no matter what, and she will still be the incumbent senator, so she will get the backing of the DCCC, which is the fundraising arm of the Democratic political party.
Looks like this is more technical in nature, her decision.
Oh, absolutely it is.
Stay in the Senate.
It is. It's a way, and she could divide the Democratic vote. I mean, Arizona is a purple state in many ways, even though it has two Democratic senators, even though it has now a Democratic governor in Katie Hobbs. Traditionally, it has been a Republican state. And so anybody who's going to run for statewide office in Arizona has to appeal to especially independents. They cannot just be liberal Democrats. And so her bet, many people believe, is to divide the Democratic vote.
What's going to happen in the Senate in terms of 50-50 or 51-49?
Oh, it's going to be 51-49. The reason is because, as her presumable Democratic Party opponent said, Senator Sinema's moves are always about Senator Sinema. And she made a deal with Chuck Schumer last night that she would hold on to her committee seats. As a result of that, she has a lot to lose if she starts to sway too much toward the Republicans. Now, the Republicans would love to bring her in. Mitch McConnell has been courting her, and she visited his institute in Kentucky by his side. And so there is that kind of move. But what Senator Sinema is looking for is how to get reelected.
Okay, it's all about election.
Absolutely.
All about power.
You know, my grandfather, who was an international rug merchant, once said,
Right.
If somebody tells you it's not about the money, it's about the money. Senator Sinema says this is not about politics, it's about independence. Here, we live in a political town.
Right.
It's about politics.
So moving on from this breaking news, we now move on to the big news of the week. What's the big news of the week?
Well, Brittney Griner. And of course, this is an asymmetric trade. Brittney Griner was arrested with less than a gram of banned substance at the airport, whereas the person that she was traded for was Victor Bout, who is notorious for arms trading illicitly, for breaking sanctions, especially in Africa. He would fund both sides of a war. He was able to commandeer planes from the former Soviet Union. So he had a virtual air force of tankers that he was able to transport all sorts of weapons. He has never admitted it, But people say that he also gave arms to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. He had been arrested in 2010 with a sting operation in Thailand. And during the sting operation, he revealed that he saw Americans as the enemy. He had been a former Soviet military officer. And of course, the question is, why did Russia want him back so bad? The speculation is that while he was working illicitly, he was working under the auspices of the Russians. So they didn't want him to talk.
So why did President Biden release him?
Well, President Biden was in a very tough spot. What he really wanted to do was get out Paul Whelan and a few other Americans who were also unjustly imprisoned. However, the Russians, even though they were playing with a bad hand, they're very fierce negotiators, and they said explicitly, we're not going to negotiate for Whelan's release, no matter what. And so Biden was stuck with this dilemma, and that is, does he trade this arms merchant, this merchant of death, as Boot was known, for Brittney Griner, or does he leave her languishing in a Soviet gulag? And he made the decision to make the trade. Now, Whelan's family very graciously said that even though they're very upset that their family member was not able to get out, they understand the president's play and why he did this. But Republicans here in Washington are using this very unfortunate trade as a way to attack Biden and say, how come you traded for Brittney Griner, but you didn't get out Paul Whelan?
That's politics. Role of opposition party in democracy is to oppose and be critical of the ruling party. That's the job they're doing. But tell me, it looks like from your views, from your remarks right now, that Russians got a better deal from this prisoners.
Definitely they did. And you know, they played with a very bad hand and won. Now, Americans, I have heard through rumors that right now Americans are thinking, all right, Victor Boot is going to go back to arms dealing. And Americans would like nothing better than to find him doing the same thing in another country and take him out with a drone.
So what's the other news of the week?
Well, here we are. We're in the news business. And the gray lady, the New York Times, had a one-day strike yesterday where all the essential journalists walked out because they haven't been paid. Now, 5WH has had a fantastic report on the 10% layoffs from BuzzFeed. And of course, we've seen hiring freeze with NPR, where the CEO of NPR sent a note to all the employees saying, look, we're not going to try to lay people off, but we're not hiring anybody right now. So anybody that is needed, you're going to have to work doubly hard so that everybody can keep their job.
So news industry is not in a good shape.
It is not.
Journalists and reporters in particular are being fired left, right, and center. Hundreds of journalists are losing their jobs. Why is it happening?
Unfortunately, it used to be there was this equality doctrine. There was this idea that stations needed to report nonpartisan what was going on. But nowadays, hedge funds, investors look at journalism as a money-making sport, as a way as something to invest in. So you'll see hyper-partisan news outlets that are money-making outlets. As a result, yes, they make money, but people who are just trying to report the news, they don't have the same market capitalization as these hyper-partisan news organizations
it's
do.
a state of affairs at a time when the demand and of news content or original news content has not been as high as it is today in 21st century. The creator of those news contents, right?
Right.
Reporters like me and you are being fired left, right, and center.
That's absolutely right.
There's something wrong with this business model. There's something wrong with the industry that needs to be fixed. This is where we bring in. We're trying to work hard on 5WH, a marketplace for journalists and media houses where you can work on your own, demand your own salary, your own perks, and work there. Let's see.
People do need news. They need to know what's going on. So this is...
But this is a sober note, but still we journalists are celebrating the Christmas today, right?
That's right.
Festival season. See here in the basement of the press room, we are, in the moments from now, we are going to celebrate the Christmas and we'll bring you some shots from there, right?
That's right. And I'm going to bring a video camera and film the traditional poem that's read in the basement of the White House. One thing you ought to know about the basement of the press briefing room and the press briefing area in general is it's not as elegant as you'd see in the West Wing.
But it's the most powerful place in the world.
That's right.
Well, this is a poem that dates back to a tradition that dates back to 1998. This is the 24th edition of the White House Press Basement version, 2022. An attempt to capture some of the political highlights of the year. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in the White House, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Stockings were hung by the chimney with fear, worried that inflation would not disappear. POTUS was sleeping, all snug in his bed, while visions of ice cream danced in his head. He dreamed of the year, and Justice Stephen Breyer announcing his plan to finally retire.
With that, we leave it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Keep watching.
All right.